All right, so 2.3, we're going to talk about some different kinds of lines. So skew, parallel, and intersecting. This is going to be a pretty short section, and we will do some more practice with this in class next time we chat. All right, so just for the basic vocabulary, parallel lines, we've already kind of discussed, or maybe you already know, those are coplanar, so just meaning on the same plane, lines that never intersect. And so they go in the same direction. So if I'm going to look at an example of those, I could have this line here, which is AD, and this line here, which is BC. Okay, there's lots of examples in this picture. I could also use a pair that goes up and down. So I could say CG, and I could say DH. That would be another pair. But again, in this particular picture, you would have lots of choices for parallel lines. Again, you can think about them going in the same direction. So they're going to run front to back, like AD and BC, we could kind of say run front to back. CG, DH, they look like they're going up and down, right? DH up, down, CG up and down. So in the same direction, okay? Skew lines. Skew lines, first of all, non-parallel lines that do not intersect. So we know parallel lines never intersect, but these are non-parallel lines that never intersect. And so we think about they're going to run in different directions. So let's look at our picture here. If I have AE, a skew line to that could be HG, right? So AE is going up and down, and HG is going left to right. But because AE is on the front and HG is on the back, they're never going to intersect each other. I'll give you another example. Let's say AD here. So again, if we're going to talk about which direction that goes, maybe we could say that's going front to back, but it's on the left side of the shape. So if I look at one that's going a different direction, so up and down, but this one's on the right side of the shape. So again, they're never going to touch each other. So that would be an example of skew lines. Okay, parallel planes are exactly what it sounds like, planes that never intersect. So if I'm looking at maybe this top plane here, its parallel plane would be this bottom one here, right? Because those two are never going to cross paths. So I could say plane. Remember, we only need 3 letters, so ADC could be that top one. And then plane EHG would be the bottom one. Again, if I wanted to give a second example, I could say this side, right, is going to be parallel to this side. There's another example of 2 parallel planes. Okay, and then intersecting lines are just 2 lines that cross at a single point. So you've probably seen these before. If I look at my picture, sorry, again, let me erase here, get these. So intersecting lines would just be, let's say, EF and BF. And one thing to notice, if they're intersecting, they're going to have a letter in common, right? So if I look at another example, let's say BC and AB, those are going to touch at one single point, which is B. So when I name them and I say AB and BC, again, they have B in common because that's where they intersect. Okay, so now we're just going to look at an example of a couple of these using a different picture. So a pair of intersecting lines, again, any two lines that touch at one point. So if I said AE, I could also say EH because those are going to touch at point E. Again, lots of different choices for this one. I could also say AB and AE, and they would touch at point A. If I was just looking at AE, which was my original choice, right? AE is the one that I originally chose. I could say EH, which is the one we already mentioned. I could say AB, which we kind of already talked about. I could also say EF, they're going to touch at point E. And I could also say AD because they're going to touch at point A. So as long as they have one point in common, they're considered intersecting lines. Okay, a pair of parallel lines. So let's just stick with AE here since we have that one highlighted. DH is going to be parallel, but I could also choose BF or CG. All four of those lines are parallel to each other. One thing you might see, maybe in an example, I'm going to write AE is parallel to DH. So that symbol means parallel. It kind of just looks like an 11, but really it's supposed to look like parallel lines. So you may see that in some examples. And again, that just means parallel. So I could also write AE is parallel to BF. That's not very neat. Let me rewrite that. Okay. All right. Skew lines. So again, let's stick with AE since we've been using that for all these others. Now, AE is in the front to the left, right? And it's going up and down. So we need something that's not going up and down. Any other line going in the up and down direction is going to be parallel, but it also can't be intersecting. So let's say I choose BC. Okay, again, AE is in the top left, BC is in the back, and because AE goes up and down and BC goes left and right, those two are never going to touch. Okay, I could also have picked FG. That would be skew also. And I could, let me erase this so you guys don't get confused. I could also have picked GH. Those are going to be skew also. So again, lots of different choices depending on what you see first, lots of right answers. All right, and then parallel planes. Let's say I take this one, which is on the left side. So that would be plane ABF, because again, remember, we only need 3 letters of our plane. And then parallel to that would be this plane over here on the right side. And again, we only need 3 letters. So if we say D, C, G. Okay, so again, not too much from today's video. That's it. We will review more of this in class when I see you next. If you're interested in additional examples, there are some on these following pages that you can take a look at. And otherwise, that's it.